Next on Creole Narratives, she's a familiar face on national television, a legal analyst seen on NBC, Fox, and Court TV. But behind the headlines and the courtroom commentary, Marie Pereira is fighting another battle, one for dignity, protection, and economic freedom.
My mom used to say, "Pa gen rien sans travail. Ou sué, ou travail. Nothing works without working. You sweat, you work, and you accomplish."
Hello, folks. Welcome to the Creole Narratives Podcast. I'm your host, Fadia Patterson. This space is all about amplifying Haiti and its rich history and its diaspora. Joining me today is our special guest, legal analyst Marie Pereira. You've probably seen her all over the networks, including Court TV, NBC, and what else? So many other stations like Fox. Marie, thank you so much for joining this space. I'm so grateful to share this time with you and to have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm so honored and super excited because I secretly stalk you too on your social media. I love it.
I've seen you live on TV, and I know that you just came off of a huge case, the P. Diddy case. So I want to talk to you a lot about your career. You're a legal expert, right? So can you talk about your journey, your impressive career, and what led you into law?
Thank you so much for all those compliments. But first, I have to thank my parents, two Haitian immigrants who came here in 1970 with 4 children in tow, Ernest and Paulette. They moved to Brooklyn. They raised us. And then I went to school in Brooklyn, Kingsborough Community College, and I became a registered nurse. After that, I went to Downstate School of Nursing, and then I got my bachelor's degree, and I went to law school after I became a nurse. And for all of that, nothing would happen if my parents didn't support us. So whatever biographical information I'm giving anybody, I big up my parents, God first, and my parents.
That's a beautiful, that's like a quintessential story, immigration story that you have, especially coming out of Brooklyn.
We lived on Bristol and I think Livonia in Brownsville. And then we moved on and we went to live on Crown in Albany, 552 Crown Street. I remember that apartment like it was yesterday.
I grew up on Empire Boulevard, about 5 blocks from Eastern Parkway. And every Labor Day, my dad would take us to the Eastern Parkway parade.
I feel it.
Yeah?
I feel it.
So,
For sure.
and then we left, unfortunately, right after the riots, the Crown Heights riots. So, and then we moved to Long Island, and then from there moved elsewhere. So, you know, the journey of Haitians, the Haitian migration throughout the United States. You say that Haitians are everywhere. So you're living in what you call La La Land. Can you talk about that?
Yes. Well, I transported myself over here about 1.5 years ago, and I can't even say I 100%, reside in California. I'm here for now. My husband, Charles, he passed away last year after a long illness. And after he passed away, New York became a little problematic for me in terms of memories and other personal things that were going on, which were just not good for my mental health and healthy grieving. So I came down here to visit my daughter, who's been living here for a few years. And she said, Mom, you should just stay. And I decided to stay for now, and it's been about 1.5 years. Beautiful. I still do the back and forth New York. You're always a New Yorker.
Right,
okay?
right. You were just, I believe, were you there physically covering the P. Diddy trial?
Yes, I did go for the trial, and I did some outside of the courtroom coverage, and I also did a lot of coverage as a guest analyst on Court TV. Yeah. My family is still there. I still have my daughter there, and I'm in New York, LA. I could say I split my time between the two
And I think you were a great fit, Marie, for that case because I'm reading up about you. You're not just a legal expert, but you are a certified domestic violence batterers class facilitator and victim advocate. Can you describe what that is and how did you get into that role?
I kind of fell into the role when I came to LA. I attended a fundraiser, and it was to benefit an organization, Shepherd's Door. They assist battered women to transition into normal life and deal with their crisis. And so, as part of their board of directors, which I'm on, I decided to take the batterers certification classes because Shepherd's Door teaches batterers classes. So let's say, for instance, a person is arrested for any type of domestic violence or is involved with the family court system involving violence. And in order for them to get some sort of a plea deal or litigate an arrangement, mediate, the court says you need to take batterers classes so that you deal with your issues. I am part of a team that conducts the batterers classes on occasions. So yes, that's how I got into it. And plus, my background is out of law school, I was recruited and hired by the Bronx District Attorney's Office. So that's the first experience I had with the field of law, criminal law, and I fell in love with it. I left the DA's office after a while, and then I became a criminal defense attorney in private practice. So I've always had a fascination for criminal law. That's my love. I'm not so much of a transactional attorney. I like being in front of a jury. I like being in the courtroom. I like litigation, and criminal law fascinates me. So that's how, I ended up getting my certification to conduct those batterers classes.
How does that assist you in your quest for community empowerment?
I think anything a person can do as a preventative measure for violence against each other is something that helps the community. So while my contact with the people in the classes that I facilitate originated through negativity, I like to think that through the program and the instructions and the training, it helps them to cope better when there's discord or acrimony in a relationship, to deal with it or walk away, but not use violence as a means to address a situation where you're just not getting along with your partner or family member. There are other ways to deal with that type of stress, and it avoids the violence and the repetition of the batterer's cycle of violence.
This is a reality that a lot of women and men, some men, are dealing with. How do you feel that your position, your commentary sheds light on the issue? And how do you feel that we as a society can improve?
We can always improve. And I say improvement through education, teaching people that violence is never an acceptable option in our society, letting them understand firmly, if you do that, you will be punished. Right. You will lose your freedom, and there may be incarceration involved. I'm a big supporter of using the criminal justice system as a tool to rehabilitate people, to deter them from committing acts of violence against other people, and also putting them back into society as better people. So I think, people look at prosecutors like sometimes, all we do is prosecute. But prosecution serves as a source of deterrence. And I think that's very important in our society. We can't live in a lawless society where somebody does something you don't like, you're ready to put hands on them. That's not acceptable, and it never will be.
Yeah. And we saw that video with P. Diddy and Cassie. Did the outcome of the trial surprise you?
No, it didn't surprise me, because as reprehensible as that video was, and it was just not, you couldn't refute what you saw, right?
Right.
You couldn't unsee it. That is not what Sean Diddy Combs was on trial for. He was on trial for sex trafficking. They never charged him with laying hands on Cassie. He was in charge for RICO violations, racketeering, corruption. And so while I definitely believe that he's a violent person, that is not what he was on trial for. So to answer your question, the verdict didn't surprise me because the racketeering was an overreach, and I felt the DA could not prove it. The prosecutors couldn't prove it, and the jurors didn't believe it either. It doesn't mean that Sean Diddy Combs is, without blame and a perfect person or innocent. It just means for the element of the charges, they did not prove RICO and sex trafficking beyond a reasonable doubt. So no, I wasn't surprised because I was looking at it not from an emotional lens, as a mother, a woman, a former prosecutor, a batterer's intervention person. I didn't look at it from that lens. I just saw the crime, saw the elements, and I said, nope, that's not going to work. And it didn't, because he ultimately was found guilty of two instances of violation of the Mann Act, which is physically bringing a person across state lines for the purposes of prostitution. So that's, in layman terms, they found him guilty of bringing two men across state lines to have sex with his then girlfriends. That's that, unfortunately.
Want to pivot now to your identity as a Haitian woman, a femme vaillant, a dynamic woman in the Haitian community who gives back. So, what has your role as an Haitian heritage? How has that played into shaping your personal mission and professional path?
I am so Haitian, you see my flag.
Yeah.
Can't help it, even though sometimes there's a glare, it's not centered. I always try to include it in whatever appearance because I want people to understand. Moi, c'est une femme haïtienne. I'm so proud of my heritage. I'm so proud of my mom, my dad, and how they were able to bring four children into this country. And my parents didn't have a silver spoon in their mouths. They didn't go to school and achieve high educational accomplishments. They barely finished high school equivalent in Haiti.
Oh, wow.
And they still spoke broken English when it was time for God to call them to heaven, both of them. But with that, even those limitations, they were able to come here, work hard. They achieved home ownership, and they put four kids through college. I'm a lawyer, I'm a nurse. My sister's a nurse. I have another brother, he's an attorney. I have another brother, he's an engineer and architect, and he has a PhD in musicology. All from two people who could barely speak English when they came here and did not have high level education over there. So, yes, I'm Haitian through and through. We were strong, resilient people, and my parents instilled that in us.
You've made it a priority to help undocumented Haitian nationals apply for temporary protected status. Can you explain what that is and what sparked your focus in this area of service?
Temporary protective status is a temporary program, and Haitians became eligible after the earthquake. It's always been around. They didn't create it just for Haitians. But because of the earthquake in Haiti and the unrest and the tragedy, President Obama at the time ordered that Haitians were qualifying people to take advantage of temporary protective status, which means that if you were illegal in this country at the time the earthquake occurred, they would hold deportation because at that point, Haiti was deemed a disaster zone, and it would be unjust and inhumane to send people back to Haiti. And under that decision, after the earthquake, a lot of people migrated from Haiti, and they also got temporary protective status. It's not permanent. It is not a road to permanent residency. It is a program to deal with a temporary crisis, whatever that may be in the country, once it's deemed a country that can take advantage of that program. And every 12 to 18 months, the government, the US government, revisits the country conditions, and they see if the country is stable enough to start sending people, back to the country. So Haiti has had it since the earthquake.
So, what challenges are you seeing that Haitian nationals face when they navigate the legal process for TPS or work permits, and how does your work aim to remove those barriers?
All Haitians who are receiving TPS will no longer be eligible to continue under this program starting February 2026.
For folks who don't understand, who haven't been there, can you describe the conditions that are happening right there?
There is still unrest in Haiti. Haiti never recuperated from the earthquake. And then after that, Haiti was just run over by gangs and corruption and violence and kidnapping. There's not any real structure to provide health care, to provide adequate housing for people. Haiti is unsafe. It's unstable to a point where Haiti is a part of the no travel zone countries. So how can you say in one breath, don't travel to Haiti, Americans, and if you're there right now, come home quick because it's not safe, but at the same time, the same government is saying, send the Haitians back, they'll be all right, as they say on the streets. Are you kidding me?
Port-au-Prince is decimated. The homes are destroyed, so what are people going to go back to? And how does repatriation work in other areas like OCOP that doesn't have enough housing to welcome people back?
It's not even what are they going back to. Imagine some people have had TPS since the earthquake, right? So they're here now and they've become homeowners. They worked, they went to school, they have careers, they've had children who actually never stepped foot in Haiti. They don't have any family back there. So it's not a situation when people think, okay, they're removing TPS as of February 2026, all those illegals are going to have to leave. That is not the way I feel society should look at it. First of all, they're taxpayers. They are law-abiding citizens. Not everyone who is under the TPS umbrella is a criminal and needs to be deported. They're people who, since they've come here, have contributed to American society. And there's nothing for them back there. Some of them don't have any family back there. Some of them have children who don't even speak the language, who've never been to Haiti.
You often speak on economic freedom and generational wealth. How does your advocacy for legal employment among Haitians tie into those larger goals?
At the end of the day, my organization, Haiti Immigration Project, and we're www.hip.support. When TPS was available, and when Haitians were able to travel here under the Biden administration family unification program, right? I was able to help Haitians do their work permit applications. Because even those who came here under the Biden program, where you were able to send for your family members or your friends if you were a legal resident here, you still had to file for a work permit to be able to get a job. The work permit application, there's a fee for it under immigration cost, right? And then if you're going to an attorney for you to complete it, the attorney would charge you a fee. My program, we did it for free for them, and all they had to do was worry about the immigration fee. And some of them would qualify for a fee waiver, and then we would do the fee waiver. Wow. Nothing works without gainful employment. These people would get their work permits and they would go get a job. With that job, they would be able to take care of themselves, contribute to American economy, and send money abroad for their families in Haiti. So, like my mom used to say, pas gen rien sans travail. Ou suet ou travail. Nothing works without working. You sweat, you work, and you accomplish. So that was very important. And that's why I made a mission of helping people apply for TPS, because once you get the TPS, you still have to apply for a work permit. And those people who came here under that Biden administration program, they still had to apply for work permit. So I would help them fill out the application. They would get their work permits, and then they would become working members of this society. And what we used to do also is the ones who wanted to, I would teach them how to fill it out. Because at the end of the day, it is a 7-page application with mostly biographical information. But if you don't know, you don't know. So once they learn how to do it, then they would go and help other people do it. So I was teaching them how to do the TPS applications and the work permits. And that gave me so much joy, because all Haitian people want to really do when they come here is find a better way. They love their country, but you see the situation the country's in. Right. So they come here to seek a better life. And most of them don't come here to commit crime. They come here to work. And helping them do that gave me a tremendous source of joy.
So Marie, let's talk about your visibility on national networks, and how do you feel that influences the public perception of Haitian professionals and the broader immigrant experience?
I feel extremely proud every time I'm on any television network and they say, let me bring in our guest, former prosecutor, criminal defense attorney, registered nurse, domestic violence victim advocate, Marie Pereira. Marie Pereira. I feel extremely proud when I see an anchor or any other legal analyst or a politician or anyone doing something to impact our society. I feel proud when I go somewhere and I run into any Haitian, whether it's in the service industry, wherever you are, in the hospital. I love everybody, but I love my Haitian people. When I saw you and you inboxed me and said, do you want to come on Creole Narratives? And I had been following you.
I didn't think you were going to respond.
Oh my God. I was so excited.
What are your thoughts about Haiti in the media and representation? Our music is on display, our dance, our culture. What do you think about that?
I am happy for every little step towards understanding the impact and the resiliency of the Haitian nation, okay? I think it's not enough that, you have some incredible artists, live streaming or, selling a bunch of records and getting, what's the word I'm looking for? Someone like Joe Duetfile, Wyclef Jean, I appreciate them.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to Haiti than musicians and your occasional athlete. Look at the entire nation.
What would you say to encourage that person that feels powerless?
I'm going to take my glasses off for this one, because there is no such word as powerless. I think as long as you have the power of the vote, you should exercise it. And I'm not here to tell anyone who to vote for, but vote for politicians whose values align with your values. Simply put, if it's important to you to have certain legislation in place, then vote for legislators who believe in what you believe in, whatever that may be. So a lot of us are saying, I'm powerless, but if you're a U.S. citizen and you have the power of the vote, then go out and vote.
Do you think Haiti will ever recover to its former prominence?
Honestly, I don't want to be pessimistic, but there's a long way to go. But I want to say to everyone who's here, living here, continue to work hard. Vote for legislators who will create programs to benefit and send help to Haiti in an orderly fashion, and just continue to pray. I believe in prayer. I was raised
Pentecostal. I believe in the power of prayer. From wherever source, pray for Haiti. Exercise your right to vote. Further yourself here. Don't prove anyone right. Don't come here and engage in criminal activity. Do what's right. Get your education. Get yourself a job. Be a productive citizen and show them whatever is being said about Haitians is wrong.
Marie, thank you so much for joining the Creole Narratives podcast. We'll be following you on TV. You're doing much more. Can you share any other projects you have coming up?
I have a podcast. It's on YouTube. It's Legal Analyst Unscripted, and it is piggybacking on my appearances on Get a Guest as Court TV as a guest legal analyst. And on that platform, I'm able to be a little more for real about my analysis. I give it to you raw, from the heart, and it's just a different way of delivering when you're, on network television. There are certain expressions you can't engage in, etc. So I encourage everyone to go on Legal Analyst Unscripted for follow-ups on the cases that I cover as a guest legal analyst on Court TV and other networks.
Thank you so much. We look forward to supporting you, and we can't wait to see more of your work. I'm your host, Fadia Patterson, and thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Creole Narratives podcast. For more episodes, please follow us on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, and wherever podcasts are available.